like to talk a little bit about the pandemic and how it affected my work. You have to understand my work for many, many years up until the pandemic was a lot of teaching, traveling, consulting, training, and traveling around the world. My wife, Elsha, and I would travel 3-4 months of the year. And just before the pandemic, we had plans to go to Australia, New Zealand, Cyprus, and Sweden. But then suddenly everything got shut down. What happened for me because of the pandemic was I was suddenly thrust into how do I continue my work, teaching, training, consulting, and all that, and I can't go anywhere. So obviously online. And a lot of people have done that. There's nothing unusual about that. There's a lot of Zoom meetings, Zoom webinars, lots of whatever, all that. And that's fine. What I have found is in my teaching directors how to work with actors, what I'm used to before the pandemic is we'd be in a room and I'd be working with the actors and the directors would be there and I could demonstrate a lot of techniques on how to work with actors. Suddenly, having to work on Zoom and through the internet, I can't do that. I can't do that as effectively and as efficiently and as immediately as I could in person. Fortunately, I found a way to circumvent that problem, which actually created a better solution. And that was because I record a lot of the work I do, and like the documentary that's coming out now, and there's a lot of the work I do with actors has been recorded. And I started using recordings. I could show a clip of me interrogating a couple of actors. And so now I had a way of at least being able to show it. But the beauty of it is, because I have these recordings and I keep recording more and more and more stuff, I could actually take that clip and we can start to deconstruct the process looking at the clip over and over and over again. And I got past a problem that I really wasn't aware that I had. The problem was working in a room, I interrogate 2 characters and then the directors and other people in the room watch, and then I explain what I have done. But the interrogation I just did is gone now. It's only a memory to me, to the actors, and to everybody else. It's only a memory. So when I refer back to something I did, people are going, I can see them thinking, oh yeah, he did do something like that. Now I can say, look, we'll look at the tape again. We'll look at the recording again. And now we can actually analyze and break down and disassemble the whole process in detail. And what's happened for the directors who have been working this way with me, their ability to acquire these skills has accelerated because they have access to these films. They even have access to these films without me. They can watch them over and over again. They can study the work. There's something that's, it's not really in the documentary when you watch that, but there's moments I've done this. I say, okay, watch this when I interrogate this actress. Watch her reaction when I ask that one question. And we can go back and run it again. And then now everybody's focused on the actress and her reaction. I said, you see that? That's gold. That's the process at work. So we can actually get down to the finest microbes, details, microscopic details of the process. That's been great. So now it's at a point where the pandemic is becoming near the end. And yes, I'm now engaged in booking new dates overseas, traveling and all of that to Europe and other places. But people have asked me, now what are you going to do, Mark, when you won't have the video, when you're going to do it live? And it's a great question. So now I'm in the process of rethinking, how can I hold on to what I've learned, hold on to these new discoveries, and then go into the world where we're all working in the room and still have those videotapes. It'll work. I can make it work. So that's how it's affected my work. And it's helped me see more clearly the work I'm doing, and it's helped me articulate more clearly to directors and everybody what I'm doing. Now, how the pandemic is going to affect other people's work in the future, I have no idea. I do know that I have a lot of clients who are making films now. I have one client who made a film right straight through the pandemic. And how that affected his work and how it sometimes affected the story, how it affected the schedule, certainly how it affected the budget enormously. Budgets have doubled because of it in some situations. So I know that's going to happen. But how it's going to affect storytelling, I don't know, except that I anticipate, now that the pandemic is sort of going away, we think, and we hope, and there won't be another one, is we're going to have more, quote, pandemic stories that took place during the pandemic. And that'll be interesting in terms of learning how storytellers are going to use that experience from their own personal experiences or from research they've done in stories to reflect the human condition that our stories do. We will have to see.
Are you optimistic?
Am I optimistic?
Yeah. Are you optimistic about the future of storytelling?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, how can you not be optimistic about the future of storytelling? Now think about this for a moment. If we don't have storytelling, now this is going to be a really bizarre question. I'm going to ask all of you a bizarre question. Imagine a world without storytelling. Or to make it really clear, put a fine point on it, can you get through one day in your life without telling a story? Can you? Think about it. Just telling a story. And I don't mean you're making a movie or writing a book. Telling a story. Someone says, how are you? Oh, I'm great. What did you do today? Well, I went. Now you're telling a story. Storytelling is such an intricate part of our life. It's almost like breathing. We breathe without thinking. We tell stories without thinking. So the future of storytelling, there's always a future of storytelling. There's always going to be storytellers, whether it's just oral storytelling, cinematic storytelling, on the stage storytelling, novels, plays, poetry, whatever. There's always going to be storytelling. And there will always be artists who want to express themselves. So the future of storytelling is always rich. It's always going to be rich. It's going to shift and change because of the times, because of the pandemic, and it's going to be glorious. I can feel it's going to be a glorious time. Optimistic? Absolutely.